Hi guys, we are talking about grief during IVF. Yesterday we spoke about denial as one of the stages. Today we're going to talk about anger. Anger is a stage in grief. Think about grief. I love giving analogies. Think about grief like a ball, and you unravel and you take one layer, like a ball of elastic bands, and you take one elastic band up all the time. You take one off, another one off, another one off, and one layer off, one elastic band up. Think about grief like that. Sometimes you don't experience all these emotions at once. You will have a dominant emotion at one point, and what we tend to see happening, like when you're going through IVF, from my experience anyway, you start off with denial, and once you've come to terms with it, then you go to anger. And that's what I want to talk about today. Anger, it is part of the process, ladies. Don't feel guilty about it. Do not feel like you've got to justify yourself to anyone. You actually don't. You don't have to answer to anyone. However, I want to give you some tips that can help you or will help you along the journey if you're still on the IVF journey, and if you finish your journey and you're just really angry, like nothing worked and you don't know what to do. You're angry at yourself, you're angry at the world, you're angry at your family, you're angry at your consultant. The list is endless. I remember so vividly, I lived in denial for a while, and I think where I can remember when I got so angry at my last cycle because I rang my consultant and I was so heartbroken. I was so angry, and I was telling him that, in fact, I was crying. I was telling him, look, it didn't work. And he goes, yeah, I understand, but you really have to come back. And I think he said words along those lines, that something is low, you've got low of this and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't want to hear that right now. Like, I really got angry, and I really then my anger started to come out. Like, I thought, whoa, where did that come from? So you get really angry, and sometimes you don't know when these emotions are going to surface. So think about these emotions as information, as your body talking to you, saying, hey, I'm here. Are you ready to deal with me, or shall I go back? And when we bottle our emotions, that's when we get problems. That's when those bottled up emotions that's a claim, but most of the time, shall I say, they will turn into diseases. That's when you start getting all sorts of diseases from these stored emotions. So thank God that they've actually come to the surface, and you've got an opportunity to deal with it. So look at that emotion, look at that anger, like creatively, like deal with it creatively. And I'm going to show you how. Like, don't let anger get the best of you. Do you know what I mean? You will get angry, trust me. If you've been through IVF, you will get angry, especially if your cycle hasn't worked. You will get angry, from experience. And I just thought, what do I do with it now? I've lost my train of thought, sorry. So anyways, deal with them creatively. Like, don't let anger take over you. As long as you don't let anger get the best of you, you're winning. It doesn't matter if you're angry, you're winning, because you know that the anger is there. You know that you're going to do something about it. You're winning. And please, ladies, stop feeling guilty. Stop trying to justify it to everyone. And you don't have to justify yourself to anyone. I sometimes, like, I like to justify myself, oh, because of that. But you know what, as I'm learning, because not everybody's walked the journey you've walked. Everybody's got their own journeys they are walking. This journey of IVF is not a joke. Period. It's not a joke. I don't care what anyone else says. And you know what? Your friends will tell you, oh, get over it. Your family will tell you, get over it. It's not that bad. At least you've got one, or at least you're not dead. Oh, they'll say all sorts of things, but they're so annoying to somebody going through IVF. Like, please don't tell us that. We don't want to hear it. We appreciate your concern, but please don't tell us that. We don't want to hear it. So I'm getting angry there. It's coming up. So anyway, yeah. So once you've acknowledged it, now how do we deal with it? One of the best ways to deal with anger is actually to, like, I don't know, everybody, like, if you believe, you have to believe in a superpower. Like, when kids talk about Superman, super this, like, I believe in God. Like, I believe God is one person I can talk to and I won't feel judged. Now, you might have that person as well. One person you can talk to, tell all your problems, and you will leave not feeling judged. I'm telling you, I went to God and I said, right, this is it. I was so angry at him as well. I was like, how could you let this happen to me? Like, that's not fair. Like, why did you let it happen? And then I gave it to him. I didn't even edit it. I just told him how it was. And it just felt after that. If you don't, another tip you can use also is to have a prayer journal. If you don't believe in God, you can just have a journal. Just write those thoughts down, those emotions, how you're feeling, what's making you angry. Write everything down. Let it come from here to a piece of paper. Let it come out. You don't want to bottle that in, ladies. You do not want to keep that inside of you. You don't want to keep it at the back of your mind. You know what we say, oh, I'll deal with that later. I don't have the time for now. Please make the time, because you've got a gift. It's come up and you can deal with it. Make time to deal with it. And you can write it down. It is such a good practice. Such a good practice. Like, writing it down, such a good practice. You learn so much about yourself. It's such a good practice. And it doesn't matter, because you're not feeling like you've got to please anyone, or you've got to write the right thing. You're literally just writing down things as they come along in your mind. Like, you're writing it down, you're writing that down, you're writing that. You discover so much about yourself. And I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to the people who have gone before us, and we can learn from them. I'm so grateful. Like, I never knew what grief was until I started to go through IVF and I was experiencing all these things. So write it down. Don't let anger get the best of you. Write it down. Make a note of it. And ladies, if there is any gents watching, it would do you so good. That tip alone, it would do you so good. It would do you a whole world of good to write it down. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's okay to be angry. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't have to justify yourself. Don't beat yourself up, and don't feel guilty. Just find creative ways to deal with anger. Some people like to put it in a balloon, let it fly away. Some people like to write it down, burn it. Whatever creative way you can do, whatever creative way you can use to deal with that anger, deal with it. I'm sure there is plenty. Today I just told you a few, but they do work, you know. Think about grief as a rubber band, like lots of rubber band entangled together, and you get one off. Yesterday we got denial off. Today we've got anger off. Tomorrow we'll get another one off. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Good night. Bye.